Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for joining. On today's call, we have Atlanta Dream head coach Tanisha Wright and general manager Dan Padover. I know it's been a while, so a couple quick reminders here. If you have a question, please use the raise hand function and unmute yourself after I call on you. And please let us know who your question is directed to, either Dan or Tanisha. A recording of this will be available for download on dreammediacentral.com and on the NBA Content Network. And this availability will be posted on the Dreams YouTube channel later today. With that, we'll go ahead and open up to questions. And we'll start it off with Devonte Hughes. Devonte Hughes, go ahead.
Hey everyone, I hope you're having a good day. I wanted to start off with this question for Dan. What was your philosophy going into free agency?
Thanks for the question, Devonte. Tanisha and my philosophy going in from the start was we want to make sure we bring in talent to make our team competitive every night and to give the Dream fans something to root for. But we also wanted to make sure we brought in high character people. And in this turnaround that we're going through right now, we put that at the first and foremost. And we think we did that, and we're really happy in the type of people that are coming in here. I think it's going to help set the foundation for where we want to go.
Next question is from Jackie Powell from Bleacher Report. Go ahead, Jackie.
Hi, all. Thank you both for being here this afternoon. So I've got to start one for each of you. So Dan, you had said, I think it was in your intro presser, that you wanted to do this rebuild the right way. Can you explain exactly maybe what you meant by that and maybe how that principle has been applied to how you both have gone on about free agency?
Yeah, and thanks for the question, Jackie. I think when you come into a role that we were coming into where a franchise is at a point where you really can build something out for a long-term sustained run, you don't want to sacrifice some steps in the short term to get where you want to go. And I think what we meant by building things the right way was building on a foundation of high character people, of professionals, of people that we knew were going to be proud to wear a Dream uniform and represent our organization the way we wanted to represent it, and be really smart about how we set up our team to attract talent in the long term. And we didn't want to take any shortcuts and just sign people because we thought it would get us a few more wins this year. Tanisha wants to win more than anyone. I want to win more than anyone. But we want to win long term, and we want to win big things, not just short term things.
Appreciate that. I do. And I guess if I have time here for one for Tanisha, now that you both have an idea as to what this roster looks like for the most part, I'm just curious as to how maybe your vision is coming along for the style of play that you'd like to employ in 2022 and beyond.
I'm sorry, Jackie, I cut out. Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Oh, of course, no worries. So now that you all have a better sense of what the roster looks like now, rather than, when you were first hired, I'm curious as to how the vision is coming along for the style of play that you'd like to employ this year in 2022 and obviously in years beyond this one too.
Yeah, good question. That vision is still coming along, to be honest with you, but I think that the pieces that we have added, playing an up-tempo style, trying to get out, play a little bit more in transition, using the strengths of the players that we'll have, like a Tip, who we all know is exciting and explosive and can get to the rim. Erica and her ball handling skills, being able to use ball screens and different things like that. So we're anticipating that we're gonna be athletic. We have a lot of versatility to our game with the players that we have. So we're going to try to use everybody's strengths to the best of our abilities.
All right, our next question is from Howard Magdal. Go ahead, Howard.
Hi, thank you both, and Kelsey, thank you as well. One for each of you, if I could. Tanisha, just to start with you, knowing who you have in camp now, knowing who you get to go to battle with. I'm just wondering, is there a specific metric you have in mind, a stat you have in mind, whether it's pace, whether it's top half of the league in offense or defensive efficiency? I was wondering if there's kind of a baseline that you're looking to reach with this group in year one.
Success is measured in so many different ways, right? So for me, like when I look at this group, success is going to be measured in how we approach every single day, how we come to work every single day, the competitiveness that we bring to the table every single day. And so ultimately, Howard, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for us to be a team that when we step out on the floor, everybody knows that we are going to compete. We are going to compete at the best of our abilities. So how we compete is what I'm measuring and how I'm measuring going forward from here on out. But so yeah, that's how I see it right now. The other things will come and they will develop as we start to gain chemistry and get to know each other on the court.
Appreciate it. And Dan, I just, in terms of the decision to move on from Kennedy, I'm wondering if you could take me through that. Obviously there was conversation earlier in the off season where it sounded like she was going to stay. If just kind of run us through that process, if you could.
Yeah, thanks, Howard. Yeah, I think, look, going into this year, it's no secret to anyone that there wasn't the best season for Kennedy and the Dream as a unit. And Tanisha and I wanted to make sure we went into 2022 with an open mind. And we had every intention of Kennedy coming into camp, and we were looking forward to having her a part of this organization. As free agency unwinds, sometimes opportunities come up. You're always weighing things. And we took a look at the trade at hand and thought it made the most sense to give us a fresh start, to give Kennedy a fresh start. And we were super excited to get, an all-star MVP in Erica Wheeler, a really good pick in this year's draft, and a first-round pick in next year's draft. And looking forward to having a fresh start for us. We wish Kennedy nothing but best in LA. Looking forward to a fresh start with her. But overall, when the opportunity came, it was the best decision for our franchise.
And just if I could briefly follow up on it, does it change your window and your arc? I know, in Vegas, there was a conversation about a 3-year window. In New York, it was a little different. I'm just wondering, whether that has been altered in any way in your mind.
No, both Tanisha and I and our ownership group are coming into this with a lot of patience. That doesn't mean we don't want to win. We all want to win. But we're going to be very diligent about what we do. That trade had a lot of diligence involved in it. And it doesn't change any way our strategy has been presented since we walked in the door to today.
Appreciate you both. Thank you.
All right, our next question comes from Tyrone Monday. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Hey, the question's for Dan. Going into this all season, seeing you going to get so many bigs, and you got a couple bigs, signing a lot of bigs coming in. Was that a focus for you coming into this off season, or was that just something that you thought was needed for this team?
No, coming into the offseason, I think we had 4 players under contract. So it may have seemed like we started with a lot of bigs, but we've got a roster of 12 we need to fill out, and a training camp roster of 15 we need to fill out. So there'll still be more additions at the other spots. I just think maybe some of the chips started to fall first at the post position.
Questions from Isaac Jasper. Go ahead, Isaac.
Hi, this is Isaac Jasper here from Living the Dream podcast. This question's for Dan Padover. I wanted to know the situation with Kia Stokes. A lot of fans were adamant that she was going to be signing with Atlanta, and just abruptly ended up, changing her mind. So what was the thought process behind potentially signing her and then eventually not signing her? So.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Isaac. The free agency period goes from January 15th to February 1st. We were talking with Kia Stokes, and she was in a place where she was going to come here and decided to change her mind and go to Las Vegas. And we were fortunate enough to bring in Kia Vaughn and Monique Billings and feel really, really good about both of those players and wish Kia nothing but the best.
All right, I've got a couple questions here from Spencer Nussbaum from the Next. He surprisingly did not make this availability. He's on all of ours. This one's for Tanisha first. You both have obviously talked a lot about culture and veteran presences. In what specific ways will each of the new roster additions help the younger members of the team develop?
Yeah, good question. I think the people that we brought in are first and foremost consummate professionals. You look at Kia Vaughn throughout her career, every step of the way, nothing but amazing things to say about her, shows up every day, does her job. And there's something to be said for having that as an example for not only the younger players, but also it gives more linear players the feel that they know when they come to work every day, that's what it is. They're able to come to work. They're not worried about other things because they know they have people surrounding them that are also looking to come to work every single day and do their job. So I think that Key is going to be a great example. You look at Erica again throughout her career, wherever wherever she has been in Indiana, lastly in LA. She's going to be a great role model for somebody like Ari, who's young, still growing up in the profession, still learning in the profession. So Erica has a lot of experience to be able to impart onto Ari. So Ari will be able to gain that from them. Tip, who obviously is entering into her 10th year. Nia, who's been around this league for a few years as well. So I just think that the people that we've brought in are going to be really good professionals. They're really good people, and it's going to be a fun atmosphere to be in for all of our players.
Awesome. And then a second question from Spencer. This one's for Dan. He wanted to hear more about your expectations for the 2022 draft, specifically what sort of ways you'll find value with your 2 second-round picks.
Yeah. I think the encouraging thing about this draft is that we pick at number 14 and number 15 in the second round. And I think a lot of GMs in our league would argue that depending where you're at, you may be able to get the same player in the back half of the first round that you could in the top half of the second. So I think it's exciting to us that there's a group of players, call it from 6 or 7 to, probably about 15 or 16 that we're all looking at as GMs and head coaches and trying to find the right fit and the right player to develop. And we're at a time in our franchise we're really trying to get as many of these young professionals in that we can develop and be a part of this for the long term. So both of those picks are very exciting for us to have.
Thank you. Our next question is from Lindsay Gibbs. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Hi, thank you all so much for holding this call. I want to talk, there's been a lot of talk, and your PR director was on social media sharing how seats are being sold out for the season, courtside seats, and that there's really something exciting building in Atlanta. Can you talk a little bit about how the organization is going about kind of trying to bring that excitement to the team and what that excitement kind of means to you all from an organizational perspective, because it's obviously been a franchise that's had a lot of ups and downs over the past few years.
Yeah, I'll start, and T, feel free to jump in. I think if you take a look at the top down, right, that's where a lot of the energy is coming from. We had an influx of new ownership, about a year ago. They, kind of let the season play out and really learned a lot about what the W is and what they need to do to make this franchise what they want it to be. They made a phenomenal hire on the business side, bringing in Morgan Shaw Parker from the Falcons. They brought in Tanisha, who at the time was the most coveted head coach, promoted Darius. I came over, and I think everybody around our office and now the players are starting to feel kind of a reset and are getting really, really excited. And while on the outside, it's probably not being able to, you probably can't feel it yet. We all feel it, and Kelsey feels it, and Tanisha feels it. And it's really exciting. I was in New York and Vegas two phenomenal franchises and had a lot of fun. I can honestly say, and I tell my wife every day, this is the most fun I've ever had, and it's the most excited I've ever been, because I see where we're going and we're all doing it together, and we're doing it with great teammates as people and players, and with a whole lot of professionals. So there's a feeling for us internally where we're all geeked up, and I can't wait for the fans to have that same feel. And I know the players are starting to get it as well.
Awesome. I have one follow-up question. I don't know if Tanisha wanted to add to that too, but also just, obviously few players have meant as much to the Atlanta Dream over the years, last few years, as Elizabeth Williams. So I want to talk about, losing her in free agency, kind of what that process was like, and I guess kind of your thoughts on what she's meant to the organization.
Yeah. Look, Elizabeth was a staple in this organization the past few years, and we were very transparent with E throughout the whole free agency process. She was very transparent with us. She was actually the first meeting we took. Sometimes for both an organizational standpoint and a player perspective, it's just time to move on and to find a fresh start. I think E's really excited about the opportunity that Washington presented itself. And we're super happy for her. Not to say that, she's not a part of this franchise. We always value her, and she'll always be welcome back. But I think she's at a point in her career where going after a championship in Washington was super exciting, and we wish her nothing but the best.
I know we have a lot of questions here. We'll try to get to as many as we can. For now, we'll go back to Howard Magdal. Go ahead, Howard.
All right, I'll make this quick and easy then. Given what you guys have seen, what you've gotten in free agency, given the draft ahead, Tanisha, Dan, for each of you, not a player, but a type, a skill, what are you looking for? What's the thing you want to add next?
To be honest, Howard, I think we're looking for. We've said this, and this has been our rhetoric, and it's absolutely true. We're looking for kids who are going to be good teammates, who want to come in, who want to work as hard as they can, and who are excited about the opportunity to join the Atlanta Dream. Lindsay asked the question about the excitement, and it's absolutely true. There are people that are super excited. I think the fans are getting antsy as well. And so we just want to keep adding people to our team, to our roster, to our staff that are excited about what we're doing here in Atlanta.
Jackie Powell, we'll go back to you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Kelsey. So one more for each of you, actually. So I'll start with Tanisha this time. So I want to ask you a bit about Nia Coffey. I mean, she's who I'd call a young vet, not really a vet, but a young vet. And that's sort of something that we saw happen in New York during their rebuild. So I'm curious as to how you were going to, I guess, manage that fact, or consider the fact that, she's not a vet. She's still sort of a young vet. How, as a coach, are you looking to, develop her?
Yeah. To be honest, Nia is a coach's dream. She's somebody who is eager to get better, eager to work on her game, eager to grow. And so when you have somebody that comes in with that mentality and with that attitude, it's easier for you as a coach because they want it, So in terms of managing it, Nia's going to have plenty of opportunity. She is somebody who gives us a lot of versatility to our roster, playing both the 3 and the 4 for us. So I'm really excited about Nia. I think that, we haven't seen the best of Nia Coffey in her few years that she's been in this league. And she's going to have an amazing opportunity to show what she's been working on and how she's developed the last couple of years. We've seen her last year in LA and what she put together, the season that she put together. And I think that she's going to do nothing but grow from that year.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And Dan, when we discuss rebuilding and young teams in general, there's usually some sort of focus on player development and having the infrastructure possible to develop these young players during the season. So I'm curious as to the type of thought that both you and Tanisha have given to the coaching staff, when it comes to having coaches who have experience in player development.
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. It's probably the one thing that Tanisha and I talk about the most in relation to the coaching staff. And we've been very diligent throughout the process. And to Tanisha's credit, she's done a lot of work in looking to see who she wants to bring in on her staff. We'll have an announcement out as we get closer to camp. But two things are, we plan on having a full bench of 3 full assistant coaches. And we also plan to add a full-time player development role that will be here in Atlanta year round to help grow any players that stay stateside. And we think that's super important as this league continues to grow and players don't continue to go overseas. We want to make sure that any player that wants to stay here and work on their game for 12 months, we're providing the proper resources. And our ownership group's been super supportive in that regard. And I think it's what makes Tanisha and I super excited about where we're going.
All right, next question is from Cool McCain. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, guys. Thanks for having me on. My question is actually for Tanisha. I wanted to first say, welcome to the team, Tanisha. We're excited to see what you're going to do with the team during your first season. And also wanted to ask you about Erica Will. I know she was brought back in. She's a player that was on the team back in 2015 for about 17 games or so, but she was brought back in. Obviously, she's an all-star veteran. Do you think she's going to be one of those people that are going to help you kind of develop the players and be that kind of coach on the court for you to help everything kind of flow during this first season while you're still getting everyone else up to par?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my one of my first conversations with Erica was from her, just like, whatever you need, coach, whatever you need, I'm here to help you. And that's been the attitude with most of our players, to be honest. Kia Vaughn, the same thing. My first conversation with her was like, I'm here to support you. I want to have your back and how you need. And I think Erica definitely is going to, bring that to the table. I shared with her my thoughts with how she's going to be able to help Erie on the court as well. And so she is completely and utterly sold out to doing whatever is necessary and whatever we need to be successful and what that looks like for us.
Okay, we have time for these last 3 questions. First up will be Wilton Jackson. Go ahead, Wilton.
My question is for Coach Wright. And Coach Wright, you kind of just alluded to it, talking about Erica Wheeler, and you talked about her experience and also helping the young players. But where do you see her most fitting in well with this team going forward into this next season?
Yeah, Erica is somebody who is dynamic, right? She's a playmaker with the ball in her hands, not just for herself, but for others as well. And that's how I see Erica. I think that she has the ability to score. She has the ability to break down a defense. She can create for herself. She can create for others. And that's how we plan on using her. We think, the more versatile you are in terms of what you can do on the floor, the more valuable you are. And so Erica brings that to our team, and we're definitely excited about the dog in her and what she brings to the table.
All right, we'll go back to Tyrone Monday. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Hey, my question is for Coach Wright. With your experience in the WNBA and like your experience as a player and as a coach, and for your player development, do you use like what you did as a player and how you were a player and like what's your experiences? Do you use that to help the young girls, like to help Ari and all the rookies we're going to bring in this year? Or do you lean more onto the vets that are still playing now?
Well, every player is different. Every player is different. I think one of the reasons why I'm in this position is because of my experience, right? When you look at me in terms of a coach, I've been coaching in the league for 2 years. I've been coaching in college level for 4 years. But when you really boil it down, I've played in this league for 15 years, including as well as overseas. So my experience as a player definitely holds value, and I'll definitely share those things. But the vets and the players, they're the ones who play the game now. Right, I played the game and they're playing the game, so their thoughts and experience are going to be valuable just as much as my past experiences.
Go back to Isaac Jasper. Go ahead, Isaac.
Isaac Jasper here from Living the Dream podcast. This question is for Dan Padover. I want to get into what I feel is the biggest acquisition that you guys have made during the offseason, and it really wasn't even in the form of a player. Acquiring Dan Gadd, who comes from a $6 billion organization. How do you guys feel about bringing someone on like that, ultimately his job is to grow teams and to grow organizations. So how do you feel that meshes well with the Dream's vision?
Yeah, I think it goes back to kind of the question we talked about earlier about the excitement building for the organization. And Morgan obviously came over from the Falcons, and she knew Dan. And for Dan to want to, take the leap to join our organization as we're building is super exciting. I mean, he's got agency experience, he's got NFL experience. He, from a digital content perspective, is a true professional and take us where we want to go, so that the content that's out there is really reflective of the personalities we have, the way we're going about practice, the way we're going about games. So to your point, acquisitions are really, really important on the court. But right now we're also paying close attention to all the acquisitions we can make off the court and make this organization top notch.
All right, well, we were done, but then B. Terrell put his hand up, and we like B. Terrell. So go ahead, you'll have the last question.
My apologies. Good afternoon to you all. I'm B. Terrell with Made for the W. This question is actually for either one. You've previously spoken about building with pieces that fit the culture of the Dream going forward. So Tanisha, obviously you have that championship experience, bringing in two pieces from a runner-up team at the Phoenix Mercury with Kia Vaughn and Megan Walker. How do you feel like their experiences, along with your championship experience, will really help power the Dream going forward?
Yeah, I think, anytime you talk about a culture change, you're also talking about a mindset change. So when you look at Akia, who's just been in the WNBA finals, right? She's going to bring a different perspective because her mindset is going to be different. She's going to have a championship mindset, right? Championship mindset doesn't necessarily equate to championships, but it definitely puts your team and your organization in the thoughts of what it looks like to do championship things, to speak championship thoughts or championship words, and to have championship thoughts. And so, we're really excited about Kia and Megan coming over and having that experience and being able to bring that to us, because the ultimate goal is to win a championship, right? Whether that's, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, but that also all starts in the mind. So we have to have championship thoughts and championship words and championship talk even now before we even get to championship. So we're excited about them coming over.
Awesome. Well, that's it for today. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tanisha. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
No problem. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks, everyone.